Here we are at the St Mary's Roman Catholic Church. This site originally had a weatherboard church which was moved to Lell, and then in its place they built this brick one here in about 1860. We'll now go on a trip around Lethbridge and see something. We're now approaching the corner to the turn off for Lethbridge. Right here on the corner is Mr. Len Miller's house, a councillor for Bannockburn. On this corner there was originally a pub, and here's the school stop. We're now approaching the bridge that shows the entrance to Lethbridge. This was originally built about 1850 by the railways. The stone was gotten from the quarries. Now approaching the fire brigade station. This was moved from down the road to now, where it was built in about 1983. And fire brigade, a very big part of Lethbridge. Lethbridge Playground, which was built just about 5 years ago for all the young'uns. And there's the recreation reserve, the oval. That was originally done in about 1919. The oval was first done. It's rumoured that it's built on an Aboriginal burial site, which is pretty interesting. The pavilion over there was first erected in 1925. It was erected for the men who fought in the First World War. It was originally a lot bigger, had extensions, but they've been later pulled down, and now it's being extended again to provide better facilities for the cricketers and the junior footballers. This oval is used by the Lethbridge under-13 team, which was successful this year. It was established about 15 years ago by the late Dennis McMahon, and involves Anarchy, Little River and Meredith. It's very good for breeding up the young'uns who then go to Bannockburn. Over the far we have the tennis courts. Behind the toilet over on the side there is a little court. That was first moved to this location between 1913 and 1920. The three bigger courts were built in 1982. The Lethbridge Tennis Club has both juniors and seniors who are pretty successful in the district as well. The site of the Lethbridge Hall that you heard Grandma Donaldson talking about before, that was established in 1971, had the big push. The original hall was totally made out of wood. That was first established in 1891 and was pulled down just before this one was established. This hall, there's many photos of some of the greatest people in Lethbridge, some of the greatest sporting teams, some of the people. There's a big photo of Queen Victoria right up the front. There's a stage. This Saturday night actually, a debutante ball will be held here, and the hall is used for many different occasions. This was the main shop in Lethbridge for many years. It was finally closed down in the early 80s because of not much business. That's when the town weren't too many people around. The Merrifulls now own it. They bought it from the Brooms, who owned it for a few generations. From this shop, it was like the major post office shop. There's the petrol in there. If you go, also the telephone box was in there. Hasn't been used for many years. Over here is the telephone booth that's now being. That was done in about the early 80s as well, just before the shop closed down. Here's the entrance to the recreation reserve, where we have the bluestone gates with all the names of the people who fought and died for their country in the Second World War. We'll go up and get a shot of these gates. You see some of the names. It reads Burrows Laird Memorial Gates, in honour of the men of the Lethbridge district who served the Empire in the 1939-45 war. Let's read some of the history. The Acklins, Burrows, Dooley, Donaldson, Efferton, the Goggins, Harris, Hendra, Kellys, Knight and Laird, with one of the Burrows men killed in action. We'll go to the other side. There's names Laird, Mead, Millers, McGillivrays, Padrissets, Sanders, Miscallans and a sister Spiller. Mr. Laird was also killed in action. Here is the site where the original blacksmith was first on. It's now owned by the Wolves. And if we turn around to the other side, we can see the original bakery, now owned by Mrs. Corwell. That was first established in the early 1870s and unfortunately had to close in about 1975. Here we are at the Lethbridge station. It was first established in 1862 with a line from Geelong to Buninyong. The trains would get water from the big reservoir, which we'll see later, and they brought the water down here for the steam trains. Also, Cobb & Co coaches got water for their horses from just over here as well. The train sort of put Cobb & Co out of business a bit with everyone travelling on the train. It was originally had a big water tank up here as well. There was an extension on the end which has now been pulled down, but this is now a probably the big landmark. It's not in use anymore. It was 1990 it stopped use because it just didn't stop in Lethbridge anymore. A track was pulled out and now it's just a normal house for the person out the back. Here we are at the, as it's now known, the Lethbridge Recreation Reserve. There you can see the big stone tank. All the stones were also from the Lethbridge quarry. Over here there was a shed where all the water was pumped from this big lake up into the tower, whereas then from a pipe to the train station where all the water was used for the steam engines. In about 1971, the council decided to buy this whole lake off the railway station and convert it into a swimming area. It holds approximately 23,000 kilolitres. So since the introduction of diesel locomotives, there's no longer needed. There's a lot of fish in here. It's now used for swimming, fishing. People go boating on it sometimes. Over there you can see a tree program from the primary school. They've planted a lot of trees to help build the area up. And up there is the toilets, which were established about 5 years ago for all the people. But now it's not used as much because most of the children are sort of growing up and the newer people don't really go down here much anymore. Here we are at the Uniting Lethbridge Church. This was first built in 1869, where that was then transferred from the highway down to its present location. At the back you can see another part of it that was also on the highway, and then later on it was transferred down here as well, used as a Sunday school and stuff like that. Right at the back right at the back you can see Len Broom's house. He's a champion dog breeder. You might have seen him on the PAL commercials. He's got many dogs and chooks and stuff like that, and he's a real character in the district as well. This little tin shed is where the old fire brigade used to be before it was moved up to the location we saw before. Lethbridge only had one truck at the time, an old truck. It now has 3 very big ones. And here's the cemetery with many people in here. A lot killed during both the wars. Mainly occupied by the Acklins, the Scanlons, Padrissets, Spillers, who's been through the town most of its history. It's not very well kept these days.